Welcome to this special sports edition of MHK All Day. I'm Hannah Whetstone. Coming up, we will take you around the K-State campus and the city of Manhattan, Kansas to look at the sports and lifestyles the community is following and living. We'll take a look at how the transfer portal is affecting K-State sports, head off the field as well, and see how online gambling and fantasy football is changing the way we watch sports. But first, we check in with the highest ranked team on campus, women's basketball.
I'm Sophie Dilly. K-State women's basketball is off to a hot start, and fans are already showing their support in anticipation for another exciting season in the Octagon of Doom. The Cats have spent most of their young season ranked in the top 15 in the AP polls, and have even seen their star center etch her name in the record books yet again. The sights and sounds of K-State women's basketball are back in Bramlage Coliseum as Jeff Mitty's squad looks to build off the success they had last season.
I'm very hyped. This team is very deep in terms of veteran leadership, and I'm very excited to see how far this team can go in the tournament.
The Wildcats are coming off of a historical season where they spent most of their time ranked in the top 25, including a week where they were number 2 in the AP polls.
I personally am really excited. I think we got a great roster. I also think it's going to be really fun in the Bram. I mean, there's going to be a lot of people here. And we have 5 seniors. That's going to be really fun senior night. We're going to be a really good team.
K-State hosted the first and second rounds of March Madness in Bramlage Coliseum last season for the first time in program history.
Really exciting to just kind of finally have something big in Manhattan, especially at the Bram, getting fans from all over. It was really cool. And I think using that momentum into this year is going to be awesome.
Cooper Sturm is a Manhattan native who's excited to see the women's team transition from struggling to successful.
Oh man, it's so cool. I remember being younger and having a terrible women's basketball team, and to see the growth of the program as a whole has been awesome.
K-State's roster boasts 8 upperclassmen, including 4-year starters Serena Sundell and Jalen Glenn, as well as NCAA single-game scoring record holder Ayoka Lee.
Seeing the growth from the Glenn twins and Serena Sundell is amazing. I mean, when I was a freshman, it was insane to think how much of an impact they made, not just to the team itself, but the community as a whole. And now to see them as true seniors is just impeccable to see how much they've grown both as players and as human beings.
Lee jotted her name in another record book recently when she passed Kendra Wecker to secure the all-time scoring record with 2,334 career points in a K-State uniform.
It takes a lot of games, it takes a lot of passes, it takes a lot of everything.
K-State has been rolling through their non-conference schedule with ease, scoring over 80 points in 7 of their first 9 games. The Wildcats will open conference play against Cincinnati on December 22nd in Bramlage Coliseum. In Manhattan, Sophie Dilly, MHK All Day.
I'm Avery Johnson. For as long as she can remember, women's basketball player Kennedy Taylor has dreamed of playing in a special environment, especially in her home state of Kansas. Although she never thought it would be at K-State, hope has turned to reality for the Missouri State transfer.
Into the game for K-State, number 12, Kennedy Taylor.
Senior forward Kennedy Taylor always had a goal of playing in Kansas, but more than being close to friends and family brought her to K-State.
I also get the chance to play in an environment that I always grew up hearing about. You always heard about KU or K-State or Mizzou. So I feel like just to be able to kind of spend my last year at the place that everyone always talks about is just something that I feel like is really special.
Although she is playing in her dream environment, K-State wasn't always the school on the forefront of her mind.
Honestly, I was a KU fan for my entire life, so coming to K-State, it was definitely new. It was a new experience for me because every time in the house, it was always rock chalk. We were never K-State fans, but now that I'm here and I've been able to, be with the team, be able to play in front of everybody, I've just been so lucky and blessed to honestly be in this position because, I mean, it's been everything that I've ever wanted.
With the season just getting started, Taylor's strength as a player has allowed her to make her mark on this team very early on.
Yeah, she's a fiery player that, that kind of passion is fun to see.
Taylor's goals for her final collegiate season focus not on material success, but on strengthening and growing as a player.
I mean, while I am here, I want to take every opportunity I can to kind of absorb as much as I can before I go off and hopefully, fingers crossed, play professionally, whether that's in the league or overseas or whatever comes in the future. I just want to make sure that I'm prepared to play at that level.
In Manhattan, Avery Johnson, MHK All Day.
I'm Emma Wiley. Building a winning culture takes more than just talent. It requires the right leadership. At K-State, a family atmosphere and strong support system have shaped the success of Wildcat athletics.
Culture is critically important amongst teams themselves, within a department, and I think coaches, when you're looking for coaches, you want to make sure they understand the culture of which they are coming to.
Gene Taylor's emphasis on building a strong, supportive culture has influenced not only his hiring decisions, but also the environment his coaches and athletes thrive in. Women's golf coach Stu Burke reflects on the impact of that support system.
Our support staff truly are here to support our programs. They're here to support me as the head coach and really give our athletes a world-class experience. So we don't just want the ladies to be unbelievable on the golf course. We want them to excel in the classroom and within the community.
We haven't had the most revenue, we haven't had the biggest budget, but we've had coaches that want to come in here. There's a lot of pride in K-State, not just in the athletic program, but the university.
College sports right now is going through a difficult and different time, and to have leadership like Gene and Joe Shields and Casey Scott, I'm really happy that we've got some veterans from within college athletics leading us.
Despite challenges in college sports, K-State's leadership has fostered a sense of stability and belonging.
I think one of the things I loved the first time around was the family atmosphere. I don't think you value it until you've left.
Someday I'll look back and hopefully with a smile on my face and say, maybe I had a little bit of an impact on K-State athletics.
I'm Emma Wiley in Manhattan, MHK All Day.
I'm Camden Tattenhorst. As the Kansas State men's basketball team tips off another season, Jerome Tane brought in 11 new transfers to make their Wildcat debut. The transfer portal has had huge effects on college sports as a whole, but it has created unintended consequences for fan engagement.
The Kansas State men's basketball team only returns 3 players from last year's squad. With new players coming in and leaving every year, this has caused unease among supporters. Valdon Dole and Caden Sims, 2 lifelong K-State fans who are now students, haven't been pleased with the roster movement over the years.
I'd say yes, it has been difficult to support my teams. It's always tough to keep track of the new guys coming in. It's tough to remember the names when, like in the past, you have the same guys for the 4 years without the transfer portal really playing that much of a role, and it's a lot easier to keep the names in mind.
Dole remembers some of the teams in the past and how much they meant to the people of Manhattan, but he feels it's not the same way now.
Like for example, 2019, we had Barry Brown, Kamau Stokes, Dean Wade, seniors that stayed all 4 years. It was really easy to root for those guys because they stayed here. They kept the K-State sense of community going. Yeah, it was just really easy to root for them.
Caden Sims feels like connecting with the city of Manhattan and the university is important for these new players to do. He feels like the fans will care a lot more about them.
Because if a player wants to be involved with our fan base and bring a positive culture, obviously the fan base is going to want them more than someone that's just here for money and then wants to leave and doesn't want to be involved with our fan base and be a part of this community.
While Sims and Dole are both concerned about Coach Tane's philosophy, Kansas State senior Brody McDowell believes in what Tane is doing.
I trust Jerome Tang. The first time he came to his press conference, he said it's a great day to be a Wildcat. He did not come to rebuild. He came to elevate. In his first year here, he hit that portal really hard by getting Naquan Tomlin. He got Keontae Johnson. He got Desi Seals. And you saw Bramlage. It was packed. I haven't seen K-State energy be that way in a long, long time.
It's important to note that all college basketball coaches are dealing with the uproar of the transfer portal, and not just Coach Tang. In Manhattan, Camden Tattenhorst, MHK All Day.
We're going to take a break, but coming up, fans bring lots of things to the stadium to cheer for their team. But for K-State women's basketball fans, they are obsessed with a stuffed goat.
Welcome back. I'm Toby Hamas. Recently, NFL and college football sidelines have flooded with turnover chains, while baseball dugouts have become lined with home run masks. Here in Manhattan, Kansas, Kansas State women's basketball sports a stuffed goat.
With his gold chain, number 7 pendant, and purple jersey, Gap Goat has become a fixture in the Little Apple. For every gap, which is 3 defensive stops, Gap Goat is hoisted by team managers. If the team reaches 7 gaps, Gap Goat earns his pendant and the team's chance to win is 95%.
We got a bunch tonight, right? Yeah, I think it's been fun. I mean, it's been fun for the players, fun for the fans, fun for our managers. It's a fun way to celebrate what we're emphasizing. And, you know, we have drills in practice where we're emphasizing it, but certainly I'm all for anything that can motivate us to play better defense, even if it's just a stuffed goat.
Gabgo has traveled across the Big 12, but maybe his best trip so far has been to Las Vegas.
To my knowledge, the GOAT's never been to Vegas, okay? So I worry about anybody going to Vegas for a first time.
Despite concerns from his head coach, photos surfacing online suggest Gapgo enjoyed his time in the Sin City.
Our team just embraces it. It's just what makes, I don't know, K-State women's basketball unique. It's something that our fans and community has really bought into, which has been a lot of fun to see just that grow. And as silly as it is helpful, and it's a lot of fun to get 7 gaps, and we all really believe in what it means and the statistics that if you are getting 7 gaps, you're going to win 95% of your games. So I think our team believes in that, and we trust in Coach Mitty and that philosophy. So it's been fun to kind of see that hard work kind of pan out so far.
In Manhattan, Toby Hamas, MHK All Day.
I'm Brian Nicholson. Farmageddon, one of college football's most unique and enduring rivalries, has united Kansas State and Iowa State fans for over a century. With over 105 consecutive matchups since 1917, this annual clash celebrates more than just the game. But in 2027, the rivalry's historic streak is set to pause, leaving fans wondering what the future holds for this Midwest Classic. The Kansas State vs. Iowa State rivalry, known as Farmageddon, is rich in history and fueled by mutual respect. Next year, it takes center stage in week 0 of college football, standing alone on national stage. Iowa State senior Jacob Moberly expressed his excitement about the spotlight.
I'll be actually attending, so but I think it helps put it on a national stage. It's week 0. I think it's the only game going on at the time, so I think having that and be on a national stage, having that rivalry, hopefully it brings more eyes to the history of it and, the history of the two schools.
As the future of the Farmageddon rivalry becomes uncertain, Kansas State fans are reflecting on what this annual tradition means to them. For Kansas State junior Logan Cutting, the shared bond between the two schools and their fan bases makes this rivalry truly special.
What Farmageddon means to me, Iowa State is a good football team. Obviously, they just got the first 10-win season. So it's going to kind of suck not playing in the next couple of years because they're going to be a good game. It's going to be a good matchup. And me and some friends were up in Ames this weekend. It was a great town, and we loved it. So it's going to suck not being able to go there and not having them here because our fan bases are very similar in the way that we act, and we enjoyed our time over there. So it's kind of going to suck not being able to see them.
While the spotlight on Farmageddon grows, some fans focus on the uncertainty surrounding the rivalry's future. Conference realignments and college football's ever-changing landscape have put traditional matchups like Kansas State versus Iowa State at risk, threatening one of the sport's longest-standing traditions.
I think it sucks. I think I looked it up the other day. It was the second longest continuous rivalry in the history of college football. So that ending, it sucks. It's kind of just the time in college football with all the expansion, which is annoying. But, I think schools that are as close as Iowa State and Kansas State should always be playing each other.
The passion for preserving this rivalry underscores a deep respect between the two programs, even as they clash fearlessly on the field. For fans like Moberly, Farmageddon is more than just a game. It's a piece of history worth fighting for. In Manhattan, Brian Nicholson, MHK All Day.
I'm Gavin Pastine. When you think about sports here in Manhattan, you more than likely think of football, basketball, or baseball, but many other sports are available to participate in. Bowling is one of the largest pastimes in the country.
Bowling has such a deep history. The sport can be traced all the way back to 3200 BC. As time has passed, the game has grown and the sport is better than ever, creating a positive impact on the surrounding community.
Well, I think it impacts the community in a number of ways. It allows people to come together of all types of people, no matter who you are. Bowling has a place in your community, and it's so easy to access as well.
Along with easy accessibility, bowling is truly a unique sport.
And you don't really have to be good to enjoy it. It's a sport that you can really do
most of the year, you know. It's not really an expensive sport either, so yeah.
It may not be as popular as other sports, but bowling is continuing to grow.
I think it's not as popular as like the big ones like basketball and football, you know, such as those. But there is a crowd out there that really enjoy bowling and watching bowling as well.
Bowling is a simple sport to learn. It is also a sport that can teach you simple life lessons like patience and sportsmanship.
It can also teach you to learn from your mistakes and definitely find new ways to succeed, you know.
And just to keep doing the things the same way you've always been doing. Because in bowling, you want to keep repeating the same success over and over again.
With bowling gaining more interest and the industry back on the rise from COVID, bowling will continue to be great. In Manhattan, Gavin Pastine, MHK All Day.
Coming up, sports gambling and fantasy sports are changing the way we consume sports. But is it in an unhealthy way? We'll look at how fans are using these tools to enhance their viewing. That's what's up next on the MHK All Day Sports Special.
Welcome back. I'm Grant Snowden. Fantasy football isn't just a game, it's a culture. At Kansas State University, students have turned their love for the NFL into a weekly tradition. Fantasy football players have unique rituals, and the pastime has changed the way they watch the games.
I got into fantasy football probably about 8th grade. There was about 8 or 10 of my friends that we just kind of said, hey, it's probably the time to start doing this. We started every Sunday hanging out in one of our friends' basement that had a big TV and a good setup, so that kind of started us getting interested.
Draft day is a sacred event for many fantasy football players. Some students take it to the next level with pre-draft rituals and weekly lineup routines.
No, I like to go in, Monday, Tuesday and look at the players and who plays what team. And then just because I do that, I don't have to worry about setting my lineup before Thursday.
Big wins and tough losses are all part of the fun. For some leagues, the camaraderie and friendly rivalries are just as important as the game itself.
Probably when I was 10 years old and a neighbor friend asked me if I wanted to join his league because they were short one guy and they were all like 5 years older than me. I keep losing every year, so that keeps me coming back.
Fantasy football has also changed the way students watch the NFL. Every play matters and every player's performance counts, especially when a punishment is on the line.
We just started doing some punishments. I know the last two were our friend had to run a half marathon in a full suit, which obviously wasn't fun, and the year before was a 24-hour Waffle House challenge where they sat there and every waffle they ate was an hour off their time. So it makes it a little more competitive.
From draft day rituals to heated rivalries, fantasy football has become more than just a hobby for Kansas State students. It's a way to connect, compete, and make every NFL game a little more thrilling. In Manhattan, Grant Snowden, MHK All Day.
I'm Hannah Whetstone. Being a fan of a college or professional sports team can be thrilling, heartbreaking, and everything in between. For some, there is more on the line than just the feeling of a great win or a devastating loss.
Cole Maurer is a junior at K-State and has noticed a rise in the number of his classmates on betting apps.
I've seen a lot of people just start sports betting at a younger age just as time has gone on. I think I've definitely witnessed that not only here, but just back home in KC.
Sports betting is increasing in popularity across the United States. Statista reported that in 2023, the sports betting industry in the U.S. generated a revenue of $11.04 billion, an increase of around 46% over the previous year. Over the last 5 years, there has been a significant increase in sports betting revenue, which can be attributed to the legality and accessibility of online gambling. According to Dr. Jennifer Smith, an associate professor of psychology at Kansas State University, there is an explanation for the popularity of sports betting among young people.
So younger people are at a higher risk for taking chances. That's part of the behavior of adolescence, which is risk-taking. That's pretty standard. By the time kids grow out of that phase, which, in our current environment, adolescence can last all the way to age 30 based on how they are supported by family, based on the college experience. So they still are feeling like they have a lot of opportunity for risk.
I'll do it every once in a while, but it's not a problem. I can see how it can become a problem because you win one and then you just want to keep going, but you win, then you cash it out and then you've got spending money to go buy food or do something else with.
Apps like DraftKings, Fanatics, and FanDuel put the casino into the hands of the user. Could this increased accessibility of sports gambling have potential drawbacks?
So the fact that it's available is certainly something that's going to make it something that could be problematic. You may have a personality that may be a risk taker, but if there's no risk to take, you're probably not going to be in that population. So having accessibility to this is definitely going to be a factor.
For Maurer, while he chases easy money, he hopes he is realistic enough to understand the big winners are the online gambling sites themselves.
I've seen a lot of people do a ton of parlays and lose, or just straight bets and put a ton on it because they're just so confident. I've seen like the fallacy of a lock, as people call it. So I'd definitely say I've seen a lot of people lose a lot of money.
That's all we have for our MHK All Day Sports Special. Join us again in the spring as Channel 8 News returns. I'm Hannah Whetstone. Thanks for watching.